I feel pregnant still with a message, a word with power from my ancestors. They want me to speak. They say, child, speak. Let us be heard. We got something to say. It was on my heart to have an unmedicated birth, free of intervention. I started off with little knowledge and a fear-based mindset. I spent 39 weeks of pregnancy renewing my mind. I unlearned what society taught me to think about pregnancy and birth. I replaced it with knowledge guided by or gained by from books and documentaries. I sought out evidence-based research and wisdom. I also learned from conversations with God, with my partner Rod, my mother, doulas, midwives, and friends who had unmedicated births, which weren't many. We attended childbirth education classes. We prepared. Our first prenatal appointment with an OBGYN, we were excited to hear and see our baby's heartbeat. She walks in and she isn't very pleasant. It's as if we've inconvenienced her. We do our best to connect. So do you have children? Her response, no. As she begins the ultrasound, she suggests to Rod, without any eye contact, I want you to know you don't have to attend all the appointments. They can be pretty monotonous. I'm taken back by her unsolicited advice. The rest of the visit, she treats him like he's not even in the room or shouldn't be. Despite this treatment, we're happy to see our baby and hear his heartbeat. But that'll be the first and last time I schedule with her. I would have preferred to hear something like this. I'm happy you're both here. It's really great for you both to attend so that you can learn together. Each appointment is unique. As baby grows, you'll naturally have new questions. You know what? Let me write down some resources for both of you. How does that sound? Next prenatal appointment, we meet with the OBGYN who performed my pap smear. I'm hopeful it'll be a better experience. No. Same. No eye contact to Rod. Questions Rod asks are directed back to me with an answer. Almost every question and concern I have is met with interruption and assumptions. I ask, what are the standard protocols that you take with patients are admitted to have a baby? Her response was, you're asking me to tell you what I've learned being in practice for 20 years. I cannot tell you every circumstance of what might happen. I want to stop her and say, that's not what I'm asking. Walk me through what happens when patients are admitted. What is your standard routine? What can I expect from each prenatal appointment? I want to learn and prepare myself for the birth I envision. As my doctor, how can you help me with this? But I never get the chance to. She focuses on the unknown and what sounds like more assumptions. She says, I don't know if you'll have high blood pressure problems or if you'll have preeclampsia. I can't give you much information. We'll make recommendations as things arise. But if everything is going smoothly, the way it's supposed to, you're not infected, and the baby's heart rate is good, we'll continue to let you try naturally. It feels like I'm on a need-to-know basis in my own prenatal care. Is she implying that I cannot prepare for the birth of my child and that I just follow her lead? Or is she attaching a certain narrative to my Black body? This appointment isn't working for me. Nah, If she'd taken the time to listen, she would understand that we're informed. I researched hospital stats on C-section rates, maternal death and morbidity rates, and infant death rates among Blacks. Black people across this country are dying at a higher rate in childbirth than any other races, regardless of education level, regardless of economic status and celebrity. Some of you may know and be familiar with Serena Williams and how self-advocacy saved her life after childbirth. Here in LA County, Black people are 4 times more likely to die in childbirth than any other race. I know the risk. I know the gaps in care. I know their names. Kira Johnson, Shamani Makiba Gibson, Shalon Irving, Amber Rose Isaac, and so many more. And let's not forget about the many who live and are left to process the birth trauma they experience, systemic racism, microaggressions, and so on. I needed a safe space to discuss my fears and concerns and questions. I needed to be heard. Instead, I leave feeling anxious. I won't be scheduling with her again either. I use my time wisely between appointments to expand my knowledge, educate myself on important areas my healthcare providers don't. I contact the local birth center. I speak with the owner and midwife. She's dope. I hear the liveliness in her voice. She asks, Is this first baby for you too? Oh my gosh, congratulations. You two are in so much fun. It's such an amazing journey. How far along are you? Oh my gosh, congrats. What type of care and support are you two seeking? She takes a genuine interest in me and Rod. And Rod's not even on the phone call. She asks questions and listens without interruption. She asks questions that help speak what's on my heart. I notice the ease in me. She understands and feels my words. What do we call that? Empathy. Oh, yeah. Empathy. At the end of our conversation, I feel less anxious. She helps me shift my focus back to the great work I'm doing, carrying life force inside my womb. I take a moment to sit in this feeling. She leaves me with resources, contacts for local doulas, books, book titles, movies, and a few other things to look into with my health insurance. I'm reassured that the birth plan I desire and my questions and concerns are not too much. She doesn't view me as combative or an angry Black woman. She praises me for the great questions I have. There are so many feelings as I hang up the phone with her. I curl up in bed and cry. It's the first time in my pregnancy journey I feel seen by a medical provider. I don't feel this connection in the hospital care I'm receiving. I was inspired though. I make many phone calls and wait on hold and with insurance reps, and I'm informed there's a network of midwives I can see to receive prenatal care. So I decided to continue my prenatal appointments with a midwife. Now appointments don't feel quite as rushed, and finally, Rod gets some eye contact. Yay! I appreciate the midwife seeing us as a unit. Still missing though is an emotional connection. I don't feel safe or invited to let my guard down. It feels nothing like the conversation I had with the birth center midwife. Adequate trust could have been initiated like this. Thank you for sharing. This information is very helpful in getting to know you, your values, concerns, and goals. I'm sorry that you did not receive the care you deserve. I promise to do better. I care about helping you prepare for the birth you want. How about I send you some resources on how to prepare for an unmedicated birth? Is there anything else I can do for you at this time? I'm excited for you too. Instead, she said, you're really gonna need to pull from your own resources in order to achieve your birth goal. The majority of women get an epidural. The nurses are busy and seldom have time to stay in one patient's room to support the labor pain. This response is a blow to the gut. I appreciate her transparency though. At least I know what to expect during labor now. Not much. We leave. I feel nervous and somewhat alone. The responsibility in calling, it weighed on my spirit. I needed to birth my baby gently, a peaceful transition, a warm welcome into this world. It was all on me. Only I could birth him. My body, my choice, my responsibility. These are the moments I would go inward. I remember going on a walk when we arrived home. I rubbed my stomach and held my baby. Then I heard them again. My ancestors. Child, you know you can do this. We see you searching for answers, learning techniques, wanting to hear something from these folks. There's nothing they can tell you you don't already know. Everything you need, you got within. We been did this, and so can you. We're with you. I speak over my body and my baby, remind us that we're safe and we can do this our way. The night before labor began, I knew we were getting close. I had clear, watery discharge. I told Rod, and we stayed up until 4 a.m. preparing. I woke up at 10 a.m. and felt some light cramps. And I also had some bloody show. So we kept our day going, laundry, breakfast, a trip to Target, and packing. I swayed through the contractions, all in between. Contractions were about 7 to 10 minutes apart at this time. 7 hours later, the contractions become more intense. So while in the shower, I let Rod know, we gotta go when I get out. My mom prays over us as we head to the hospital. As I get off the elevator, I swayed through another contraction. I keep my eyes closed as we're taken to a room so I can be checked. The lights are so bright. I was 6 centimeters dilated, membrane still intact. Rod provides a copy of the birth plan to a midwife. She then questions our reasoning for keeping the placenta. We may have the placenta encapsulated or we might plant it. I don't know yet, I calmly say. There are dangers associated with eating the placenta, and I strongly advise against doing that, she says. I'm not one to make decisions out of fear. I prefer to make informed decisions. I've done my research, I say. I'm not attempting to scare you. I just want to be honest with you about the risk, and I can give you some research if you'd like to look into it. Her offering feels like fear-based manipulation to make things more convenient for the medical team. Yeah, that's fine, I say, after I have my baby. Finally, we're in our room. Rod sets up everything. He blows up my medicine ball, and it's my happy place. I have my water and snacks. He turns off the lights and turns on the diffuser with lavender oil, my multicolored light, and puts on a movie score playlist. I still remember the Game of Thrones theme song playing during a moment of rest. Our nurse enters the room, a Black woman. I appreciate this so much. I don't know her, but I feel good knowing she's the one assigned to assist us. She knows what it means to be Black and a woman in America. She coaches me through the contractions. Her voice is powerful, reassuring. Make sure you breathe through those contractions. Give your baby oxygen. Good job, Brittany. Let your body drop completely after each contraction. Let go and rest until the next one. You're doing great. Rod, let me know if you need anything. She reads our birth plan and communicates it to the rest of the birth team. Our nurse introduces us to the anesthesiologist so he can insert a hep block. I chose not to have an IV. I didn't need one. Strep B negative, low risk, no complications, and I don't like needles, so this is a compromise. Bright lights are turned back on. I keep my eyes closed. He asks me if I want to hear about an epidural. No, I say. He agrees to insert the hep block in between contractions. For some reason, he's having a challenge getting a vein. He attempts the other hand. 15 minutes go by and I'm still sitting on my medicine ball and leaning over the hospital bed. I let him know another contraction is coming so he can stop and wait for it to pass. As I pull my hand back towards me, he resists my pull and says, I've got to get this in. He has a firm grip on my hand as the power moving through my body just consumes me. I stay calm and focus on my body opening. I saw that going more like this. Anesthesiologist honors and respects me, my family, my laboring space, and my clear and direct request to wait. In the midst of this happening, I block out his actions. No room for it in labor. It wasn't until after having my son, taking time to reflect back on this moment, that it disturbed me. What he did was wrong, unacceptable. The rest of my labor is divine. I know what my body is designed to do, how I can allow my body to open and move baby down. Deep inhales as each contraction rolls up in me. Deep exhales as I surrender to the surges. My labor is breath work and surrender through and through. I've never breathed so deep in my life. I've never surrendered to anything the way I'm required to do so now. My lungs are exhausted. I feel like I'm running a marathon. Well, I am mentally. Rod gives me sips of water. He's with me the entire time. At one point, I'm on top of the hospital bed on all fours, and Rod is standing behind me and pressing on my lower back as I whisper, pressure, pressure, more pressure. As I begin to crown, I let everyone know, I feel the burning. It burns. I knew this would happen and heard women talk about the ring of fire. They say, yes, yes, you're doing great, Brittany. I asked, do we need more oil down there? She says, trust me, there's plenty. I can feel his head on its way out. I labored at the hospital for 6 hours. At 1:59 a.m. on August 19th, 2019, after 29 minutes of pushing, we welcomed our son Ro into this world. Free of medication, no IV fluid, no interventions. I did it. I fucking did it. Despite each and every time I was not seen, heard, or acknowledged, despite questions unanswered, assumptions made, the dehumanizing rush of appointments and patronizing dismissal that often left me feeling unsafe and unseen, I did it. And I'm so proud of myself. To the healthcare system and healthcare providers, I want to remind you the weight and responsibility that comes not only with the letters behind your name, but with the words you speak and the nonverbal gestures you give off. Are you contributing to death by 1,000 cuts? Or are you planting seeds of trust, safety, hope, and encouragement to your Black patients. To my Black mamas, my Black birthing peoples, our ancestors are speaking to us. Do you hear them? Are you listening? They say, remember what we've been through. Remember how we built this country with our bodies, slavery. Remember how they tested on our bodies and took from us without consent, Tuskegee experiment, unethical reproduction research on our bodies without anesthesia because we don't feel pain. Henrietta Lacks, long live her name, as her cells do. Remember how they fed this nation from the milk of our bosom, wet nurses, and cares for our own and Master's wife and children with our motherly love, granny midwives. Our ancestors are speaking to us. Our ancestors are with us. They want to be heard. They're asking and calling for us to heal and to be restored. It is our time. Let us tell our story.